to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection, bringing you three unique perspectives of varying skill range. I am the human of this episode, Andrew. With me are Outlaw Keith.
Hello.
And our Love Glub, Aaron.
Hey, hey.
And this week, we played High on Life 2 by Squanch Games. High on Life 2 is a comedic first-person shooter where you are playing a now outlaw trying to save humanity because humans are being refined to be a space drug for the galactic universe people, all the aliens out in the world. But going around, though, whether or not this is a game or a pass, I will start this off. So we covered High on Life 1 before, so if you haven't checked it out, check out that episode. Actually, before we start this, I actually want to ask you guys, do you need to play High on Life 1? Okay, well, Aaron, you weren't here. Did you play High on Life 1?
Yes.
Okay. So before we get into this, do you think you need to play High on Life 1 to play High on Life 2?
No.
No. Does it improve
I kind of
it?
think you do.
Yes. Now we were briefly talking about this. I didn't get super far in on the story this time, as much as I would have liked to, but as far as where I was at, like, yeah, there would have been context of what was going on that I would have missed out without having played the first one. But really, it was more about the comedy. It was more just like the characters and the jokes and all of those things were funnier because I had played the first one. But the story itself and the gameplay itself, I wasn't like, oh man, thank goodness I played the first one.
Yeah, kind of good points. But anyway, so getting into whether this is a game or pass. For me, this is a game. It's very kind of childish humor. I actually thought the humor was, and the first one I felt like it was mostly a lot of swear words kind of going on and just a lot of yelling. This one felt like the humor was a bit more wacky and kind of out there, which actually made me laugh a good amount. This game also loved to let you draw things personally. So it literally would give you a pencil and they're like, draw your face, which is a cheap kind of gag, but it cracks me up every time. I'm always like, I'm gonna draw something goofy here. But yeah, if you have not played the first one, I actually think I think it helps if you play the first one. So I'd recommend. I don't think it's on Game Pass anymore.
It is.
Okay. Well, then if it is, then play the first one because the humor is still pretty similar. Characters are a lot of the same. Just play the first one first. But yeah, this one is a game. I will say, the shooting in this isn't great, but I thought the comedy in this was good.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, like, I went into the first one kind of expecting not to like it because I actually did like Rick and Morty and I like that humor overall, but sometimes, I don't know, it can be a little bit like, almost like it's trying too hard to be offensive for the sake of being funny that it gets a little bit tiring. So I thought the first one was going to do that and it didn't do as bad of a job as I thought it would, and I really enjoyed it. Probably still one of my favorite punchlines in a comedic video game I've encountered. So I was expecting to like this one, and it didn't let me down. I think it picks up right where it left off from the comedy aspect. I think Andrew's right. I think it is a little bit less on that, like, hey, we're trying to shock value our way to a laugh. Now there are a few that, I don't know, I thought they were still pretty funny, but it does throw that stuff at you. But there's just these like weird little, like, everything is a gag. Like Andrew referred to it with the drawing. It's a bit, it's a gag. Nothing's like, even, I don't know how to explain it, like, otherwise, that it's not a joke, but it's just these weird little things that are always happening, and they just keep making me laugh. But at the same time, it also, in a way, not without doing like, wow, these are the coolest things I've ever seen a video game do, it does some weird wacky things with the gameplay that it makes it more than just a first person shooter, and I thought that was kind of neat too. So I do give it a game, and it's not for everybody, mostly just because of the language and stuff, but it is a definite game.
You said this game had your favorite punchline of a game. What was it?
It was the very reveal at the end. When
in the first one? Yeah.
Okay. The first one.
I loved that, the very first.
That absolutely cracked me up. And that's the type of humor that I do find in this, where all of a sudden it's just these weird little things that, like, it would have been kind of funny as it is, but they just take a weird left turn on a joke. And you're just like, what the heck was that? That was so weird, but so funny.
If you played the first one, he's referencing who your parents were, which yeah, that was. I don't want to spoil it because it was very funny of a surprise.
Yeah. So, how do I say this without saying like a giant wet blanket? I know Keith had mentioned Rick and Morty. This is made by the same people that made Rick and Morty, so it is very
Not anymore.
Yeah,
Some
it's-
of the same
sure.
people.
It's still got the same people. It just doesn't have the main person. But
Yeah.
that's not the point. I don't think Rick and Morty humor is that funny. Again, don't want to sound like a wet blanket here. It just, if I see Pickle Rick one more time, it's not funny. It's not a funny gag. I don't get it. They do a lot of this dialogue stuff, and they do it constantly. This, like, really awkward, uncomfortable, hey, do you want to go with me sometime? I mean, if you don't, it's fine. You don't have to. But, I mean, it'd be cool if you did. They do that type of dialogue all through Rick and Morty and all through High on Life, okay? I can't stand that. It gets annoying. It's kind of funny at first, but then, like, the 15th time in, you're kind of like, okay, shut up. Just shut up, please. That's really annoying. Can't stand it. This game is better. This is a pass because it still does that stuff, but it definitely tried to nail it on the gags. And I was shockingly laughing out loud a few times, unexpectedly at this game, at random things that I'm like, dang, that's actually really good. And I didn't expect them to actually write something that clever because I'm just waiting for just the constant, just annoying kind of back and forth dialogue, the awkward. It's either awkward or overly aggressive. That's it. Those are the only two planes they work in, and they still do in this game. But that stuff just.
I mean,
had
they
enough.
literally. It's like one of the new guns, Travis, he's
Yes.
all of that because he's
Yes.
going through a divorce, and it's
Yes,
like,
but again, some of that stuff actually works. What they were
Yeah.
doing there with Travis is actually a lot of fun. Like I had a lot of fun with this. I am a sucker. I am a huge sucker for games that break the fourth wall. I don't know why. That stuff is just fun as crap to me, and this game does a lot of that too. I'd like that type of stuff. That stuff just kind of sticks out to me, at least in video games. Sometimes in movies I can take it or leave it, but in video games I especially just kind of love that type of stuff. So, yeah, there are problems here with this game. I don't think the story is very great, and like Andrew said, I think the gunplay kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But if you kind of want just like a gag a minute type of game, this game does kind of nail it. I do think that the gags mostly hit. There are some misses, but it hits more than it misses. Much more than I liked it on the first.
yeah. No, that's a very good point. I guess I kind of want to put that caveat of if you do not like this humor, you will not like this game because you're not going to like this game for its gunplay, and you're probably not really going to like it for its story either. So if
And I
this
don't-
humor is just not hitting for you,
And clearly, if you don't like this type of humor, and I will fully admit, like, I love, like, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of my favorite shows. I think it's hilarious. Watch it all the time. Love childish humor. For whatever reason, Rick and Morty is a very popular show, so I don't want to sit there and say it's not funny, because for some people, it is very funny, and you're probably hearing me and you're going, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's totally fine. But there are people that just, that is not their type of humor. It's not mine. I don't,
Yeah.
when it's on Adult Swim, I prefer to watch something else than watch Rick and Morty.
No, I think that I was just gonna say I totally get that because like even I don't want to say I grew out of Rick and Morty, but there is like I was right around the Pickle Rick thing. Like you pointed out, it just got so in your face and like everywhere that it was just like, all right, it's not really. It was just screaming the same thing over and over again. And it kind of stopped being funny to me, and it felt like they, at least for the show, it took like a direction of just kind of like leaning really heavy into that because those early seasons I thought were really clever, and I thought that's what it had the hooks for me, and I thought the writing in High on Life kind of does pull some of that cleverness back, and I think that's what I appreciated.
Oh, yeah. I would say Rick and Morty, I think, was always better for its writing rather than it was for its comedy and its jokes. That's how I've always felt. I totally agree with you. I think as a sci-fi show, it actually did a pretty decent job of bringing up kind of a lot of wacky scenarios. And really, a lot of that stuff is present here. Like, I think it still does a lot of that stuff in here as well. But yeah,
Well, I think
that's what
what
also worked as being kind of funny for me.
what really worked for Rick and Morty too was like its serious moments of just like, yeah, it's this goofy weirdness, and then it's like, oh no, like there's like serious like
Yeah, this game doesn't have an
family
ounce of
trauma.
seriousness in it.
No, yeah, that's
No,
the thing. This
Not an
that's,
ounce of it.
I mean, I don't know. Humans are being slaughtered, Aaron.
Yeah, but in a
But they do
comical
it. Like,
fashion.
it's kind of a joke. But anyway, yeah. So getting into the story, if you played the first one, you were originally a bounty hunter that would go around and obviously hunt bounties, specifically after the main cartel known as the G3. And because the G3 invaded Earth, captured a whole bunch of humans, and was reducing humans into drugs. Now that you killed the G3, your sister has now become essentially a activist, and she's still trying to save humans because humans are still being captured in the black market and still being turned into drugs. She unveils this whole conspiracy of a pharmaceutical company starting to make pills out of humans. And so you have to try to go save your sister. And by doing that, you end up kind of giving up your career as a bounty hunter. Now you're an outlaw trying to save the humans. And wackiness ensues. That is essentially the beginning of the story. You could kind of expect where it's kind of the story goes to. But yeah, the story isn't great. So honestly, for this part, I mostly kind of want to talk mostly about the gags that happened in this game. I do think the jokes to me, like I said, hit so much better in this one. Like I said, the first one to me felt like it was mostly yelling and just kind of trying to be crass, and it was just like, okay, which was funny at some points. Like one of my favorites was like them constantly referencing Space Applebee's, which I just thought was just really funny. And like how you even go at like we need to have a serious conversation at Space Applebee's. But like my least favorite character in the first one was Knifey. Like he always annoyed me.
Yeah.
It was just him constantly screaming. But in this one, I'm like, oh, he's actually kind of a fun character. Like he still obviously wants to knife people, but it just wasn't just him constantly just screaming.
They subdued him a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely did.
I kind of wonder, like, I wish I knew, like, what the feedback was that they got from the first game to know what they wanted to change here. Because there are clearly some things that they wanted to upgrade on, which I'm sure we'll get into gameplay a little bit and we'll talk about that. But story-wise, it feels straight up kind of copy and paste. It's really the same concept. Like, it's literally the same concept. Instead of going after a cartel, you're going after a pharmaceutical company.
Which I loved right at the beginning. The bad guys you're fighting are called the good guys. So
yes.
You're killing the good guys.
Yeah. And so that's true. So the like story-wise, it was just you get where this is going. I don't think it does anything original in story. This is the tough part, though. Because where do we differentiate story to gags? Like, where do gags fall in this? Because I feel like that's the bigger topic. Because
that's why I wanted to mostly talk about gags here. Yeah, it's like story. It's like,
is that story? Is that story?
Some of them kind of are. In a weird way, it's tricky though because, like, I don't want to spoil some of these gags. Either,
I know.
Some of them were so good because of the way they hit and because they were unexpected. So I don't want to go too far into them, but I'm like, that is the best part about it at the same time.
The first one that gave me a surprisingly good laugh was very early on when you're in the mall. So I don't want to spoil it, but you end up going into a store that I just was like, what? Like, how did they get licensed for this?
That's really funny. All right, fine. Well, we'll do it at the end of the show. We'll do kind of like a spoiler cast.
We don't even have to. Like, it's just gonna be fun if people just go enjoy it. But the gags like that, where it was so unexpected that you're just going around the mall and you're like, what the heck? This store's here.
Which one? There's actually multiple
stores.
Well,
the one you actually go into was the one that made me laugh.
Where you find
there's another one you go into after the cruise ship. Yeah, after the cruise ship.
No. I'm talking about the first shopkeeper you went into. That one.
Because after the cruise ship is another licensing story. I know.
But that was the first one that made me like laugh. Where I was like, what the heck? And I just got like a kick out of it. And there were some funny gags in the store itself that I was like, that was very surprising to me. And the game has a ton of moments like that again, it kind of caught me off guard. I was like, that's actually pretty good. And I wasn't expecting, I was expecting much of the first. I was expecting just to be screamed at and the whole awkward dialogue thing. And I wasn't really looking forward to this, but then those things would happen. I'm like, all right, never mind.
I bet they got licensing. Just knowing what that store, like that store sells plenty of their merchandise. I'm sure they probably just had and I don't mean that to like, well, Aaron, this is why it's in there. But like, I actually wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they had that. But yeah, I think
I'm sure they were honored to be in there.
Truthfully, there's that.
The mall is dying, man.
But I guess one of the things that I like too, without going into like spoiler type gags, is and they did this a little in the first one, but it felt like it stood out a lot more. It's the subtle background things. It's and I think some of them end up not being it. I brought it up, and I don't think it's a spoiler. I think it's one of my favorite things about it. It's in the mall, in the arcade area. You can go and you can look at all the old arcade machines, and the fact that it has that NES Bible Adventures, because that is a game I played growing up as a kid, and I've talked about it. I don't know, little bits here
Super
and there.
Noah's Ark or something like that.
Well, apparently there's two of them. No, it's the 3-in-1 game. That's the one I'm most familiar with. The NES cartridge. Like I grew up playing that game, running around as Noah, collecting 2 of every animal, bringing
Knocking
them
out
back to the
squirrels.
ark. Oh yeah, I played the heck out of that game as a kid, and to see it just randomly pop up like this, it was an absolute crack up for me. And you do get to play it at points. I won't spoil too much of that, but you even do get to play it. So
Well, not only that, they have the original commercial too. Did you see that?
I did. That was cracking me up.
Yeah, when you get to your room eventually, they have a whole bunch of 80s commercials, and I'm like, I remember that toy. Like, this is awesome. The Bible Adventure game, which I didn't realize it cost $45 back in the day.
And
Like,
it's
this is
not
a crazy
why.
expensive game.
3 games in 1.
And from my understanding, it was illegal. Didn't they? Because they were never licensed by Nintendo. Like they had to do this weird workaround to get it to work on Nintendo. Do you remember
yeah.
this?
This
'Cause,
one,
yeah,
but I don't
they
think
had a
theirs
phone
was
number
one
to
of them
call.
because
Yeah, it was.
I don't remember having to do that though.
You
because-
didn't have to do anything crazy. They had to do something to the cartridge. And it was not licensed by Nintendo. Like it's now kind of considered a relic because it's super hard to find because I'm pretty sure they got sued by Nintendo. They
my
were
parents
never a
still have
licensed
those.
game.
But yeah, I remember there was like I do remember there was weird things about that where they had to either like buy adapters that would allow you to play certain unlicensed games. But I just remember popping that one in like a normal game, and I don't think
I'm
we had to
almost
do
positive.
anything. Like you could be right, but
Hold on, now I got it. I know we don't do journalistic integrity here, but
Aaron's ruining.
and I
his
mean,
streak
granted,
there.
I played this game at 7 years old probably, so maybe my parents called the number to get it set up. I don't know, but I don't see them doing that.
Yeah, there's a handful of games in this. Some were new. Like one came out like it said 2018, but obviously it was still designed to be like a Super Nintendo game. One I completely forgot about. Bob, did you get to that, Aaron?
what's Bob?
Hold on, I had a picture of it. I completely forgot about this game, but I remember
don't
we had
remember
it on the Sega
Oh, it
Genesis.
was B.O.B., right?
Yeah, B.O.B. You were like,
Okay.
and you
I
were
do
like a
remember
robot
this.
that kind of looked like an ant. And it's like, as soon as that game popped up, I'm
I
like,
kept thinking this
oh
is
my-
Vector Man, but I don't think it's Vector Man.
No, it's not Vector Man. Vector Man was cooler. No, but I remember we rented this game because, like, as soon as some of the animations were hitting, I was like, I remember having this, and I remember like, yeah, you remember this game, Aaron?
Gosh, I do remember this game. Yeah.
Because specifically when you go to like grab onto a wire, his antenna turns into a little hand and like moves
Yeah.
him along. I was like, oh man, I
do
remember
remember
this game.
Just to go back on that, Super 3D Noah's Ark, it was not licensed, so that wasn't illegal, but it couldn't be sold in regular stores. You could only buy it at Christian bookstores.
That
It
sounds
wasn't
about
allowed
right.
to be sold at regular retailers.
And that
No.
sounds about right. My dad probably picked it up at those like monthly sales he would go
yeah,
to,
yeah.
the book sales.
The Christian Books Distributor, CBD, or
Yep.
something like that was. Yeah, I
Wake
remember.
up and go there, wait in line.
There
at
we go.
3 in the morning.
There's some nostalgia for you.
That was before Black Friday was big. Like my family was prepared for Black
Oh, I've
Friday
been in
before it
there.
was even a thing.
Yeah, I've been to one of those big distribution deals. So there were some just a ton of little things like that. Also, this isn't really ruining it for a gag, but this was just one of those moments that I don't know why I found so much joy in. Did you guys come across the guy that didn't want you standing next to him?
No, I mean the guy, not the guy who hated humans, right?
No. There was
He
just
just-
a random NPC that was like, please stop standing near me. And then he would just kind of walk away. And then you go near him and be like, stay away from me. Please stay away from me. And then he'd walk away. And I just kept harassing this guy. And he's just like, I don't want you standing near me. He goes, please stay away from me. And he just kept running. And I just kept standing next to him. And it would tick him off. So you guys didn't even run into this guy.
No.
I mean,
I-
I might have, but
I heard him
didn't
say it
fully-
once when I kind of walked by him. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to harass this guy.
Like,
And I am spending the next like 12 minutes just chasing this guy around for no reason. Stupid things like that kept popping up in this game, and I was just like, I don't know, that's funny. I like that.
Yeah, like this is what I did love about this humor, because also too, I learned about this in the first one. A lot of times with that awkward dialogue Aaron, that you're saying about, some of it is pretty funny. Like right at the very beginning, the talk show. Did you guys like sit down, like right away?
Yeah,
I think so.
Did you
Okay,
not?
so I did it. I literally stood there, and the host kept like saying like, "Hey, can you sit down, please?" And then I went, "It's like, oh, okay, yeah, go say hi to the audience. So you can do that for a little." And I sat down in the audience. He's like, I told you to take a seat. Can you come up here? And like, I just kept it going for a while. But yeah, anytime it does dialogue like that, because I remember the first one, like something breaks, and the announcement's like, "Oh, you can expect a maintenance worker in 3 hours." And like obviously you're supposed to destroy the wall and continue the game, but people tested it out and waited 3 hours of real time, and then the game was like, "Okay, I can't believe you waited this long. Can you please just leave?" And it like destroyed the wall for them.
Which, Andrew, you bring up a great point. You had kind of mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. We probably should bring that up also. It does give you kind of like not like a recap, but an in between the first game to the second game intro. That intro is awesome, by the way. I thought very well done.
Oh, the
the
scenes back and
flashback.
forth.
Yeah, where it's kind of just jumping you into like a new scene into a new scene, and how it does those transitions. I thought were super cool. I actually really like them. So it does, at least, if you did not play the first one, you get a gist of what at least happened in the first one.
Yeah.
So things like meeting your guns and stuff like that are going to be probably a little jarring to you, but at least knowing kind of a TLDR on who you are and what happened in the first game is mostly present there.
Well, past that cutscene too. I mean, it starts you out in that like museum, and you
Yeah.
can
Oh, yeah,
really kind of
definitely makes sense.
explore everything, and get a kind of quick laydown of everyone and who they are type of thing. But yeah, otherwise you might be a little bit thrown off. Like, why are my guns talking?
Yeah.
And like that's a
Well,
weird, jarring
One
moment.
thing I'm a little disappointed in. I mean, I haven't beaten the game, but as far as I was looking, I don't think they do. So Kenny was your main gun in the first game, which, if you didn't know, was voiced by Justin Roiland, who is one of the main creators of Rick and Morty. But he is in
He's
jail.
kicked out. I don't think he's in jail.
No, I think he
I
actually
thought
got.
he was convicted.
I actually thought the conviction got dropped, but either
I
way,
don't
he's
know,
no
but
longer
either-
with Squanch.
Yeah, he got, accused of sexual harassment and honestly kidnapping. I remember one of the allegations was that he was like locking his girlfriend in the basement and wouldn't let her
Yeah.
leave. So needless to say, he has been kicked out. I was expecting them to do something to the gun, Kenny, because he's in the museum and it tells you about him in his story, but they didn't do anything about it. I thought they were going to kind of do a joke about it, maybe even like make a reference of like Kenny was sexually harassing people.
Yeah.
But they didn't, which that was kind of surprising. I thought that would have been a low-hanging fruit for them to kind of take a joke at. But like I said, one of the funniest things in this game was the ability to draw things. And so right at the beginning, when they're doing that recap, you're always wearing a helmet. Your character is also mute, so your guns literally are speaking for you. But I love, like, while the city's getting destroyed by, like, a Godzilla creature, so it's like, hey, can you draw me your face? And it literally gives you a box of crayons to draw. So, like, of course, I just, like, while I'm sitting there drawing this masterpiece on the screen, I was just, you see the monster kind of destroying the city.
Man,
and
you
people are
put
just
way
kinda
more
like-
work into it than I did.
I mean, I will say you probably should put a little effort because, yeah, this poster gets hang around
It does.
everywhere.
Which you knew that was coming. Like, I knew
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
I put on here is going to be shown.
Oh, that's why I was like, I got to put some effort into this. I want to make this look pretty great.
Oh, I didn't even think about coloring in the suit. I just thought about focusing on the face. Should've
I
colored
started
in the
coloring one star, and then I was like, "Oh, this is gonna take a lot of time. I don't feel like doing this."
suit. I do
Yeah,
kind
I
of want to
kind
see
of wish I
what
had this on
people-
PC.
I do kind of want to see what people did, though, because I bet
Yeah,
there's some good creations.
I bet PC has some really. I mean, probably in general, people did good stuff, but I bet PC has some of the best ones.
No.
Yeah, and eventually you go to a murder con, and they ask you to sign a waiver form to put your name. Here's Keith's originality.
Panic?
No, you
I-
wrote penis.
No, that's not this.
My
That's a C.
sizing started getting really weird.
Yeah,
by the
what was
end.
happening there? Why did each letter get smaller and smaller? What happened?
I was not doing well with the
Well,
spacing.
why did you write them in all caps? Why?
And then, well, then I couldn't figure out how to like read, like delete or erase anything. So I was like, well, I don't know. It's just what it is now. But I do like though that when you go into the next scene of the murder con, it has this little scoreboard and
Yeah.
it actually has your handwritten like name there.
Panic.
Which worked pretty
Panic.
great for my name.
Yeah, you're just a picture.
Yeah, I drew a guy with a house in a sunny day, which was pretty great to see. Like that picture kind of climbing up the leaderboard. I was like, this is great. But yeah, I like when you do this too. It even gives you the achievement going. I bet you drew a penis. If that was the achievement.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, nope, I wrote it. Or
Especially
tried.
these guys, of all people, knew that if you're gonna make people draw things in their game,
Yeah, you know that's exactly.
it's gonna
what
go awry.
But it is one of those things that it's like, it couldn't work in any game. Like this is about the only game it could work. But it's such a clever little spin on just how to do a character creator, even though
Yeah.
it doesn't actually create your character. But instead of sitting there fiddling with sliders and all this, just pick up a box of crayons.
Again, I'll give them a lot of credit. Like I think some of these gags were genuinely really clever. Like I think some of the things they did were really clever. Can I also say I'm
No.
kind of shocked at some of the things they got away with in this game.
Like what?
Like there is illicit drug use, which I kind of thought was going to be a big time no-no.
I mean, the game literally is called High on Life.
Yeah, but cocaine usage in the middle of I was kind of surprised that they were allowed to do that.
I don't know. I mean, what?
Grand Theft Auto does it.
Cocaine usage
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
game? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember anything like that. I don't remember anything like I'm sure marijuana usage was in there, but I just felt like I was just a little surprised sometimes. They would do stuff where I was like, "Oh, okay." That was pushing it a little bit for a video game.
Which also too, I like in the first one they had some really campy, crappy movies that you could watch, which they brought that back. Did you
there's
guys watch
tons
these
of that.
movies?
Dude, it's hard not to sit and watch the screens
Yes.
because you're always like something's going on. Like they didn't just put nothing on here. It's something, so I'm gonna watch it. It's hard not to just sit and get caught up in there. I think there's full blown movies in there, aren't there?
There's two. Yeah.
Okay.
You can go to the movie theater and like actually sit down and watch them too, which I remember they did in the first one, and it took me a while to find the theater in this one to do it. But the two movies they have is Manborg, which isn't as good because it was made in like 2013. So it's like, oh, this is like obviously intentionally kind of crappy and cheesy.
Yeah.
But the other one was a 1986 movie called The Spookies, which is pretty terrible. Like it's like.
Did you watch the whole thing?
When you see the characters, it's just like, man, the acting and the writing in this is all over the place. But I watched the entire Spookies.
Dang.
Wasn't worth it. The first game had better movies.
The wasn't it right in the mall? Like not in your like home base mall, but like the main hub world.
No, it's actually the opposite end of the mall, like from the city. Which I like that joke too when you land at the city, and they're like, oh, it's a ring planet, almost got a Halo
Yeah.
thing going on here.
Which I don't know why. This is one that was like kind of just like a clever little gag, but I don't know, not like a spoiler one. Just the first mission where you have to steal a catalytic converter, and just the whole time, the guy's like, "Hey, give that back! Just like give that back!" And then I ended up killing him, and then the whole time everyone's just like, you didn't have to kill that guy.
Oh my god!
Like that was kind of unnecessary, don't you think? It's like I didn't even mean to, but it was just funny because they're just like harassing you. We're like, man, that was kind of brutal.
Speaking of killing, I mean, this is at the beginning of the game, of the story. Did you guys shoot your sister?
I pointed the gun at her and it had the green reticle, so I just assumed. But
Oh my god!
but
if you're listening to
it's
this, I
also-
recommend you do it. It's very funny.
I mean, well, to that point, really, at any point in the game, even if someone has a green reticle, go ahead and pull the trigger because
Just see what happens.
it's most likely going to give you some sort of dialogue. Like I had a couple times where the guns would be like, "Wait, are you sure you want to do that?" Like, and you hit it again. They're like, "All right, well, it's your call. I'm gonna let you do it next time."
See, it's one of my favorite gags of just any game, which I forgot to mention. Talos Principle even did it. Like, I love when a game kind of gives you the option of like, are you ready to go on an adventure? And if you say no, it just rolls credits. Like Talos Principle did that actually last week. They said that. I'm like, do you want to go on the expedition? It's an achievement to call "Don't go on the expedition." But yeah, so High on Life does this. You shoot your sister, just credits roll, and it's like, all right. It's
good.
so good though. I love when a game does that. But yeah, so I won't spoil it. But did you see? So Aaron, you referenced some of the fourth wall breaking stuff.
Yep.
Did you see what happens during one of the boss fights?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that video is so funny.
I know, but
So-
don't. It's Richard Kind who does the voice too,
Oh, I didn't realize that.
which is awesome.
Wait,
Yeah.
is that?
That's Bing Bong.
Oh, I didn't do that one yet. I only did, like I said,
You knew what I was referencing when I said Bing Bong.
Well, I assume it's one of the boss fights. You said.
It is.
And I-
but
and I only did-
No,
and I only
it's
did-
not Bing Bong. It's the guy who does the voice of Bing Bong in
Oh, Inside Out.
Inside Out. Yeah, that's Richard
Gotcha,
Kind.
gotcha. He's he's Muppy Doo, isn't he? Is that who he is in this game? The senator.
I don't know. Muppy Doo.
The senator. He's one of the first options.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
no,
Isn't
no.
This you get later. He's later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's not one of those.
But hey, let's get into the gameplay though. So as I said, this is probably one of my weakest things of it. So one of the new features of High on Life 2. So if you played the first one, each gun kind of has a unique ability, which you can kind of alter the environment a little bit, which I felt like was a little bit more underutilized in this game. But the big addition in this game, which I was surprised, I thought it was just going to be like a quick segment, but you now have a skateboard, which is on the cover of the game. And the skateboarding I actually thought was kind of fun. It's very simple and just basic, but I liked the idea of it, and it just kind of made traversal fun. But when it came to the actual combat, I was not impressed. I did not like the combat in this game. None of the guns really screamed out to me until I got Creature, and then I was like, okay, like this is fun again. Because I remember who was my favorite gun in the first one. But yeah, like the AI is just dumb as rocks. They just kind of go back and forth. Like headshots don't really do much. You can get some upgrades. Like there is a lot of exploration in this game where you can find the lug blocks. I think they're called. Everything has wacky names in this game. But when you open them up, you either get money or you sometimes can get an upgrade for your gun. But none of the upgrades felt that substantial with any of the guns. I was never like, oh man, Gus is now the best. Gonna use Gus all the time. So to me, the combat was the weakest, but I enjoyed the traversal in this game with that skateboard.
The skateboard was a nice addition. This is kind of one of those things where I wondered, was this something they decided when they kind of looked back at the first game, what could we improve on? And somebody was like, just traversal, make it faster. And this was just their quickest way of doing it. I agree. I think the skateboard was simple, but maybe it didn't need it to be. Like, I kind of wish it was incorporated a little bit more in the action. You can,
Yeah.
but all it is you skateboarding and still shooting a crappy gun.
No,
I didn't like it for battles. That was the worst time to use it.
Well,
a good thing is it kicks people, so you can kick people off
does.
off of ledges. Super
It
easy.
does.
with it.
But
But I'm talking about like boss fights.
but there's
like,
everything that's grindable, basically. Kind of like a real zoning out game. So, like, when you go into an arena to fight, there was always stuff to kind of grind on and do a lot of traversal stuff. I think that's what it wanted you to do.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean the very first person you not first person, one of the first bigger
Yeah.
fights you have Repticle there. He's encouraging you to really lean into the skateboard usage, and I didn't like it. Like it
No.
was, and because it was just it's so on rails. Like you're just going in a circle, and you can't move your gun as quick as you're moving. So I'm like. It was just a pain, and then if you choose to fight off of it, then they're moving too quickly to try to fight. So it was definitely, I get what they were trying to do with the addition of it, but I just didn't really feel like it did a good job at it, and I would have preferred it without the skateboard, truthfully.
I'm okay with it as a traversal item. As a
Fair.
traversal item, it was good. As a weapon or a companion to fighting, it was not very good. I didn't really care for it in those situations. You know what? The gunplay feels awful. The gunplay doesn't always look awful, if that makes sense. Kind of feels awful to shoot these guns. Kind of feels like you're shooting into bullet sponges a little bit. But watching some of the animations they had for you kind of shooting some of these guys and them kind of falling apart, especially ones with like more armor on them,
Yeah.
I did think that actually looked pretty cool. Like they actually did a pretty decent job of kind of animating them being shot to death, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, you had like good guys who had like those little mech balls you'd shoot them out of, and then their
Yeah.
arms would break off and shoot you.
I thought some of that stuff was pretty cool. Like I didn't hate any of that. But yeah, if you're coming into this because you like first-person shooters, I don't think this is going to be a good game for you because you're not going to be satisfied with the shooting in it at all.
Yeah. I actually thought they took a bit of a step back when it came to the boss fights. Like the first one, the very first boss you fight in the first one, I don't know if you remember, she was like a flying lady and you're kind of in this big sewer pipe. But there was moments where like it would fill up with like acid and you had to keep like kind of bungeeing across with knifey, and like it had these fun mechanics. And like I just remember some of the other bosses always had these kind of fun, interesting mechanics. In this one, I'm just like, I felt like I was really just kind of shooting bullet spongy kind of people, but they weren't long. I'll at least give them praise. It wasn't just bullet sponging. Like the fights still were pretty quick, but they just didn't. They kind of lacked the imagination.
Well, they seem, and again, this is only referencing off of the two bosses that I fought, but the bosses themselves didn't feel like fights against an enemy. Like they were weird little gimmick things, like the Muppy Doo fight. Like it was a weird little thing that you did, and then otherwise it was just kind of an arena fight against mobs. And then the Flintstock one where you're on the boat, there's that like puzzle that
there's
you
the
have to
murder
complete.
mystery.
Yeah, the murder mystery you have to complete, and then it just goes into a mob fight event, arena fight against a bunch of mobs. So you're not, at least in those two cases, you almost don't fight a real boss. You do some weird different gameplay mechanic and fight a bunch of enemies.
Yeah, I really do think that was like a decision. I really do think they kind of shifted into, which I think of the game is at its strongest when it's doing just wacky stuff. I mean, you just remind me of the murder mystery thing. The murder mystery thing is kind of another good example of like, why the heck would they even think to put this in the game, and why do I love it so much? There's like a lot of moments like that in the game where I wonder if that's just where they decided like, who cares about those things? We're going to actually spend a lot more time and effort building these other things, these other kind of off-the-wall ideas. And I think they mostly worked in this game.
Well, because you can write more to it. Like it's harder
Yeah.
to write some of these jokes and these things into a fight scene, whereas in a murder mystery, you just get to play with the dialogue a lot more.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, and like I was saying, just throw a fight in there at the end with, yeah, big chunky boss or whatever to fight at the end. But really, it's not a boss fight. It was
No.
about the murder mystery.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a favorite gun at all?
No, not really.
Yeah.
They all don't, like, none, like you said, Andrew, none of them were like, oh, all right, I'm just going to play with this one the whole time. I kind of flipped between them, but, like, there wasn't one that I was like, I'm definitely going to play this one more. They all felt just equally to me.
I would fall back to Gus a lot just because his specials seemed to do the most damage. And so it was kind of the most effective, but
His reload was annoying to me.
yeah, it was. I did like, though, and this was from the first one, too. You don't have to worry about ammo. They're just always unlimited ammo. So it's kind of a nice little, makes it feel a little better. But I go back to it, what we've been saying is I don't think this is about the first-person shooter aspect of it. Those are, I don't want to call them an afterthought, but I don't think they cared as much about making them feel good. It wasn't the gunplay.
No.
Which is odd. Like, because, yeah, like you have unlimited ammo, but it was kind of a thing of like, why should I switch? Like, I have a gun in my hand. Like, I'll just use this. I liked Travis a bit because I got a headshot upgrade for him, and it actually did feel like it was significant, especially on bosses. Which, yeah, I like one of the bosses has a pyramid head, and they're like, this is not a copyright pyramid. This is a triangle. That's what they kept calling it. I thought that was kind of funny.
Was that
no, like-
was that a reference for
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill is what it was. I was trying to figure out what it was.
But yeah, like I just thought it was kind of odd if like his even the specials. So in the first one, like that was kind of the thing of like the guns of like, oh, you need a character that can do a thing to create a platform here. I felt like I was only doing that once every like 3 hours. Like it was very rare. I'm just like, oh yeah, now you can do this. The only one that as soon as I got him, I felt like I was doing a lot was Creature, which is the gun voiced by Tim Robinson. You know, he sends out little children, and like you actually can kind of navigate them. And it's like, oh, okay, like this ability is kind of useful.
Yeah,
But,
I did like him, mostly just because I wanted more Tim Robinson.
Oh,
That was
same.
probably about the only reason I would defer to that gun a lot.
I actually thought he was just not going to be in this because I'm like, oh, he's probably expensive now. They probably don't want to pay him again. Because right at the beginning, I like how they were kind of writing him off of like, oh, I need to be a father and raise my children now. But now he's like, my children all left me. Now I'm alone.
Now, I bet you he, I don't know, probably didn't do it for nothing, but I bet you he wanted to be part of this project. This seems right up his alley.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of like just looking through this list, and I know it listening to the names, but there's just so many names and voices. You're like, holy crap!
Yeah.
Like what a cast list they put together here.
Yeah, when you look up the IMDb, it is just like super long.
Yeah.
And
But- and I
Richard,
do
Richard
like-
Kind is Muppy Doo, by the way.
But I do like that.
How do you remember the names of these guys?
Because I only fought 2 bosses.
Yeah,
I,
I don't
Muppet Doo
remember
is
the
pretty
name.
easy to remember.
And
I
Muppy
don't
Doo's-
remember the name of any of them. They all have just such weird names that's not memorable when they're all weird. Why can't one of them just be named Bill or something like that? It would be so much easier.
Or Travis or Gus.
That's true. Travis
Or
is actually,
Gene.
Travis was the easiest. I did remember Travis. Muppy Doo.
Or Lizzie. Man, what weird names.
Those are freak names. If you have one of those names, you're a freak.
Hey, similar to my wife, you jerk. But yeah. So the gameplay overall, though, it was just a little disappointing. But I will say the voice acting in this game I thought was really good. I know Aaron was kind of complaining about like how the dialogue's kind of like this awkward repeatingness. Yes, but I will say I think everyone who did a voice casting in this actually did a great job.
The only character in this game that really leaned into I'm just going to call it the Morty voice, which is that really awkward, uncomfortable voice, is your suit.
Oh, pseudo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does it a bunch. Where he's like, oh, if you want to get one of those upgrades, that'd be kind of nice. But, I mean, it's up to you. You can do it or not. It's up to you. I don't really care. You can do it. And it's like, oh, my gosh, please. I've heard this enough. Yeah. He's the only one that I can think of that really leaned into that. Everybody else was much, much better. They were still quirky. They just didn't do that thing. I can't stand that thing. It's just so beat into the ground for me. Do you know what I'm saying when I say that?
Absolutely. Like
how do you
I did
describe
not
that?
think about it. I don't know. It is because
Oh,
I
you
did
never
not think
thought of
about
that?
it. No, like I don't know, because it is, to me, it is something that is always synonymous with, like the Rick and Morty Squanch game stuff, because they do it in all of their things. Like I've played it in
Everything.
a couple of other games, and they always do that. And
'Cause
I don't know, it's just I've gotten desensitized to it.
In Rick and Morty, it's not just Morty that does it. Like all sorts of aliens will do it too.
Yeah,
Like they kind of spread it out, and it was clearly like humor that they like to do around each other. Like it's clearly what that feels like, and they just incorporate it in there. But then it just stops being funny. It's one of those kind of like, oh, that's kind of an interesting way to do dialogue. And then after a while, you're like, oh, stop doing that. Like, I get it. But now don't make every character do that. That's very annoying. And
it's funny when it sets it up for a gag, for you to kind of do a thing.
yeah.
But yes, I agree with Pseudo, because it is just like you're not interacting with Pseudo. It's him just talking to you.
Yeah.
And it is just one of those like, oh, but you can do it or not. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But I
Okay.
like it when it does set it up for a joke to like kind of for you to do.
I was wondering if you guys knew what I was talking about because
I
neither
didn't.
of you were like reacting to it. I was like,
No.
I was like,
it
am I?
doesn't bother me as much because you hate Nathan for
'cause-
you for the same reason because that's like his whole shtick.
Yeah.
every episode it's like, hey, are we gonna be best friends? Or like, no, all right, see you
Yeah.
later.
Because
And
I didn't want to say anything because I only want you to get the hate comments, not me.
yeah, it's a valid point.
Because it is like a deeply popular show, and it's
Yeah.
clearly been around for many seasons, and people like it. And so, sitting here as a bold and courageous man and saying I do not care for it,
First ever step up.
yeah, I will 100% get the hate for it. But I wanted to at least I wanted to know, was I making that up, or is that annoying to anyone else?
No.
But apparently, you guys didn't even notice it.
It's in,
I mean, it's at least better because Kenny is not your main gun, and he always was, oh man,
Yeah, I
like
know.
always did that, which was typical Morty.
Yeah, and see, I don't think it bothered me much with Pseudo. Maybe it was because he's the only one who does it, really. But this is something that we didn't really talk about with the gameplay, is this game might have the worst case of yellow paint I've ever come across, because if you hesitate for like 5 seconds, either your gun or Pseudo or
It's gonna call
somebody
you out.
is like, hey, go do this thing now. And you're like, I stopped for a second to read something that you put in front of me to entertain me. And they're just like yelling at you about where to go next and what you need to do, or just
That is very true.
automatically pinging the little like map thing. Like it would just flash up on the screen because you waited too long. So this game, boy, it's really in your face. Now you can, and I think you couldn't, and I think you could in the first one, you can turn down the chatter of your guns, of the
Yeah, you can do it in
NPCs.
this.
And well, I know you could in this one. I couldn't remember if you could in the first one.
You could.
And I don't know if that turns down some of their like helpfulness, quote unquote, but it's kind of annoying. But if you like the yellow paint aspect of things,
Love yellow paint.
this game does not let you get stuck. Not
Huge
at
fan of
any
yellow
point.
paint.
I did not think about that, Keith. You make a good point because yeah, it was the most annoying when you're drawing, and I'm like, I know I need to continue. I don't want to. I am drawing. Stop telling me to continue. I want to
They're
keep
like,
drawing.
we're
this."
gonna go to MurderCon yet? We're going to
Yeah.
MurderCon? Like, yeah. Let me do this game mechanic that you put in front of me real quick.
Yeah.
What was the other one that does it? I was gonna say Pseudo's wicked annoying with it. But yeah,
Yep.
that's a little bit of an in your face thing that kind of drove me nuts.
Yeah, Gene does it a handful of times too. Like when you're exploring the hideout, and he'll kind of be like shouting at you, and it's just like, come on, like, I get it.
Oh,
yes.
that's what I was gonna say too. Is it in terms of the hand holding? Actually, the murder mystery too is you can just be like, "Hey, solve this for me,"
Oh yeah,
and just go do it. So it really just wants you, I think, to explore their dialogue. Is what it really feels like at the end of the day.
oh yeah, because I forgot the other writing gag you can do. Anytime you assassinate one of your targets, they're like, "Oh, put an X on the picture." I literally would keep drawing like hearts on people. One of them, I drew another stick figure holding hands with them. I was like, "Oh, this is great." I love that this game just has this drawing aspect to it, like Microsoft Paint.
It's the simple things in life.
It really
Really
is. But yes, as far as graphics go, though, the graphics are pretty good. It is kind of funny, Keith, how you're saying yellow paint because there really isn't any yellow paint. It's all yellow audio.
Yeah, that's probably the better way to describe it.
I mean, there is paint. Well, it's like slime. But it's
Yeah, you'll
it's
know where there's a
spared.
like a lub glob is
Yeah.
or whatever, because you'll see that. Mini
Yeah.
map gives you all the locations of the blocks, I think, for the most part. But
Yeah, you get a map in the overworld, but I will say, like, at least the game's not hard to figure out. I was never lost because even with the yellow audio, you still have it press up and like it gives you a waypoint. Follow this path. That's where your objective is. So it was easy to follow along. But yeah, as far as the environment goes, it looks very much like High on Life 1. I do like the gun designs. The gun designs I always think are kind of fun and funny. But it's just, unfortunately, the guns just weren't that great to shoot, and I didn't care for them. But yeah, overall for the graphics, though, I have really not much complaints.
If I had to take some critiques, I think some of the animations, especially in like characters walking
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
are not great. I can distinctly think of, again, very early on with your sister, having
Yeah.
dialogue and kind of
I didn't
walking.
think about that.
Yeah, she's kind of got these very awkward walking situations. And there are some other characters, or some NPCs, if you're kind of, just looking around. And they're very, very basic in their kind of how they maneuver and walk around.
Yeah, like I'm at a part where you're charging down a ranch with 2 of your family members, and yeah, their run is awkward.
Yeah. So there's like a lot of that stuff in there. Is it a game breaker thing? No, it isn't. But if you're looking at the graphics as a whole, I think visually very bright, very flashy. Some awkward animations. I've already mentioned I think some of the enemies kind of looked pretty cool in some of those fight battles. But even then, some of them, when they kind of retreat, will do that very stiff animation when they're kind of like trying to like move around.
Yeah.
So I think that is a bit of a pitfall for it.
There is that one that comes like sprinting at you and does like a knee slide. That's kind of a cool animation,
Yeah.
but doesn't make up for the other ones. But no, I liked everything visually, and I don't know. I really thought the gun animations are the most fun about it because like I said, they're just so interactive. They're interesting and fun, like how they design the way they shoot based on what they are or whatever. I just thought that was kind of a cool visual aspect to it. I do like that they gave them the little like walker things now too, where they can like they can just like walk around and they're like dogs.
Yeah, the Gatlians have a mount,
Yeah.
which is pretty funny. One thing I was actually kind of surprised. I actually thought this game was like a little less grotesque. Like I felt like in the first one when you had Knifey, like you're ripping eyeballs out, like doing this
Yeah.
whole animation of slicing throats. A lot of times when I'm using Knifey as an execution, it was super tame looking. And also too, one of the guns you get, Sheath, you're kind of going through this whole segment that's kind of gross, but the camera kept going up and like cutting out. And I'm like, I'm surprised like they're pulling back on the gore in this game, which
Well,
seems kind of surprising.
Again, I just wonder if there were some ratings issues with this game. I think some of you're actually bringing up a good point. I think some of the knifey animations are not only tame, they seem quick cut.
Yeah.
Like there's ones where you're kind of like cutting throats, but yeah, the camera kind of pulls away in a weird way. And like the animations are super fast and stuff like that. It was very weird. It felt like where it would be relishing in this, it's now kind of speeding up through it to like get it over with. And it is a little odd.
Because they relished in the first one. Like I said, I
Yeah.
remember one of the monsters, you pull his eyeball out with the knife.
Yeah, and it's a good point that you bring that up. Something did feel a little strange about that.
Maybe it was just a cut of cost of like, let's reduce the animation.
I mean, maybe. I just keep thinking ratings board. I just keep thinking with
It's very
everything they had in
possible.
there.
But
if
it's
there
so
was-
weird though with all of the what were they worried about crossing over to? Like NC-17, I guess.
Well, I mean, adult only is what it gets into, and then you can't really
suppose-
sell it anywhere.
Like, because I know, like, there's the museum you go into, and there's the circumcision laser.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
But that's one of
pretty
those
funny.
things that like, and this could be a completely different example, but that's one where I'm like, I felt like they did the censorship on that as a way of comedic effect versus for now. Not to say that all of the other ones are. I'm not saying that, but there are like weird points where I'm like, I think that's actually they're just doing that for the joke more than they are for anything else.
yeah. Like I didn't question those. I always just assumed those were for the joke, but yeah. So I wonder. I don't know this for certain. So again, journalistic integrity here. But I know with the MPAA, I'm more familiar when it comes to movies, the MPAA. They're very strange because you can kind of negotiate and bargain with them. Like if you have stuff in there and they have issues with it, and you say, all right, well, what if I remove this? And will that be okay? Or what if we just slightly reduce that? Will that suddenly put it at a rated R? And I just wonder if that kind of works the same way with this. Where they were like, all right, you have this much drug usage, you need to tone down some of the violence in some places, and that's where they
You can have
they make
2
those adjustments.
drugs.
Yeah,
3
and
drugs is too many.
And they're like,
drugs.
okay, well, what if we have 3 drugs, but knifey just there's not much blood with knifey. And they're like, all right, that's fine,
All right, yeah.
because that's kind of what it works like with the MPAA. So it does make me a little curious because you do make a good point. I don't know why they would tone that down. if not for a specific reason. But I don't know.
Yeah. But I will say too, this game, kind of a quick segment. I don't know if you guys encountered bugs, but this game definitely needs some polish.
Yep.
Nothing too groundbreaking, like game breaking, not groundbreaking. But yeah, it definitely, I felt a handful of the hiccups. One time my screen was going black, but audio was going, and eventually kind of kicked in. And you could also kind of tell of like lighting. Like there was some areas like, where was I? I was like in a cave or building, and everything was kind of fogged. But as soon as I crossed the little threshold, it's like, oh, everything's bright again. And that's like, okay, this game just needs a little more polish. But it wasn't terrible.
I'm pretty sure this game ran. Yeah, it does. It runs on Unreal Engine 5.
Man, Aaron doing some more journalistic integrity.
I know. I don't.
An episode, Aaron.
I don't mean to do that. I'm sorry, but I vaguely remember people saying this was an Unreal Engine 5 game. Now, for anyone paying attention, Unreal Engine 5 has been notorious for being really bad on systems, not just consoles, but PC. Like it's hard to optimize. It takes a while for people to figure it out. And visually, it's kind of struggled a bit.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if the use of Unreal Engine 5 here is just another casualty of it. I imagine years from now, everyone will look back on that and think it was kind of weird that we had so much trouble with it. I've heard a lot of people say, I mean, this is mostly coming from, what's the company? Epic. Claiming that people just aren't as familiar with Unreal Engine 5. Once they get familiar with it, things will get better and they'll get better optimized. It's early. But I do wonder if that plays into this game. Because, yes, there are a handful of glitches that I ran into.
Yeah.
I do like, this is unrelated, but I was trying to look up the rating, and I know ESRB actually will give you a breakdown of why they gave the rating.
Oh yeah,
I won't. I don't.
You've never seen it?
I probably have, and I've just never really looked at it because it's just comical. Like there's a whole bunch of things, and I won't go through all of it, but it just makes me laugh because the very last sentence after everything went through, like people being ripped in half,
and it says crude humor.
The word "fuck" appears in the game. That's the final summary of what did it for this game. They're like, that was it.
Yeah,
Everything else you had us up to 14, but man, you dropped that F-bomb.
That was it.
17 plus.
Well, thanks, Keith. Now you gave it to us.
You can
bleep it.
Bleep it.
Tell the AI to bleep it.
And I sort of censored myself. I tried to only say the F and the K.
You gotta say frick.
Yeah, you'll never know.
But yeah, so continuing, as far as the achievements go, they're pretty good. There's a lot of secret achievements.
Yeah. Would you call this a good achievement on a game? I wouldn't.
I would not, because there's a lot that are missable, and that's what kind of stinks. Because it's like, I think the secret ones, trying to look at them,
they're secrets, Andrew. You can't look at them.
I think I don't know if they're all story related because I haven't beaten the game, but some of them, like, okay, you probably can. No, this one is definitely a missable secret one. Columbo in space, which I did do. You perfectly solved the murder mystery and got every detail just right. You didn't cheat, right? I thought that was kind of funny. But Columbo in space. But at least the name of the achievements though are very funny though. Another gag we forgot to mention was the Niles Crane machine.
Oh my gosh, that was one of those ones that you just kind of turn a corner, and I let out an audible laugh that I was not expecting.
Video games, like the arcade in general, was definitely for our age demographic. Yeah. Anyone younger than us, none of that stuff would make any sense to them. It would only make sense to us. So, very funny.
But there is an achievement associated with that called "Where's Maris?" Niles, our dinner guest will arrive any minute now. I've just been turned into a crane game. I'm assuming you have to collect all the pillows, which is super funny. Because once you see your bed and like seeing everyone's face as a pillow, it's pretty funny in your bed. But yeah, the achievements of this game though, it's just annoying. I hate when games have secret achievements that are missable. It's like I get you're trying to kind of hide the joke, but for achievement hunters, it's like, well, unfortunately, I guess you're gonna have to spoil things because you're gonna have to look for it. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for achievement hunters. But for time to beat though, for High on Life, you're looking between 10 to 12 hours, which they actually make a joke about that. They're like, oh, the game's ending. Would you expect some great 10 to 12 hour game? And it's like, nope. I guess that's the end of the game there.
It's a little bit longer than I expected. I'm
Really?
kind of surprised. Yeah,
I think that's how long the first one was, too.
yeah. I
feel
just
like
kind
it
of
was about
expect
there.
games like that that's just kind of very gag heavy to be relatively short. But I mean, I guess 10 hours isn't long. It feels like this would be a 7-hour game.
I think especially just as a pet peeve thing, kind of going back to the achievements. If there's missable achievements that I'm gonna have to go back and potentially replay the game for, once you start hitting 10 hours, I'm like, I don't really want to, put in 10 more hours just to get another 100 points.
Not worth it.
I'm curious if they'll let you replay some of the boss. Like, when you accept a bounty, you essentially are kind of traveling to a level, is how this game kind of works. I'm curious if it'll let you like replay bounties, because that's what a lot of these achievements kind of seem like. Of like, oh, during that bounty, you got to do that thing. I do remember the first one, like there was at least one achievement where basically at the very beginning of the game, you had to give like a character an instrument, and then had to like watch TV every time to see his progression for him to become a superstar, and that was like the achievement to see like a star was born or something like that.
Oh, I remember.
But you had to
that
do it
one.
at the very beginning of the game and essentially follow through the entire game to the very end of it. So like that's like annoying. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't beaten the game, so I don't know if like any of these will be kind of locked like that. But yeah, kind of annoying though. But anyway, let's get to our final thoughts on High on Life 2. So I'll kick this off. So as I said, if you don't like the gags, the humor in this game, you're not going to like this game. Because you're not going to really be playing this for the first-person shooting. You're not going to be playing this for the traversal. You're not going to be playing this for the story. This game is absolutely about the gags. And if you're already 30 minutes in or so and you're just not digging it, it's probably not going to work for you. Yeah, Aaron made a good point. This is definitely a game probably more our age demographic. There is a lot of jokes and humor. Obviously, like Bible Adventures, it's kind of more funny for us because it's like, oh, well, we grew up with something like that. That makes sense. That's funny. Yeah, so I could see like high school kids now just, I mean, granted, I don't know, they all like Rick and Morty, so I guess that's not entirely true. But yeah, the shooting in this game just didn't feel great. AI did not feel great. The story is just okay. It is just a lot of just kind of walking around and seeing and exploring things. Like, to me, honestly, this game, I would almost argue it's kind of like a walking simulator. Because the least fun I was having was when I was shooting things. A lot of times I'm just walking, interacting with NPCs, watching TV, skateboarding. Like, that's what I'm having fun of, just really taking my time with this game. And so, like, I know this is also a game where it's like, I don't feel like you're like, oh, I'm going to sit down and beat it all in one sitting. You're not going to have a good time with it. This is definitely a game you need to take your time with. Definitely a little bit unpolished, but overall, very fun. I'll give it a 78. Definitely cracked me up a good amount of times.
Yeah, I mean, as we've talked about it more, I mean, I realize, and I knew that, I would say, but it's occurring where it isn't about the game play. It's not about the shooting. It's not about the skateboarding. It's not about any of those things. They're fine. For me, this lands in like a definite game, but this is not a game for everybody. Like, and I think there is some small carryover where you don't necessarily have to enjoy Rick and Morty style humor, but you have to have a nonsense type of humor of some sort. Like, if you don't like nonsense humor, you're not going to appreciate this. And probably if you don't like Rick and Morty, it's probably already a good point, I suppose. But yeah, it's just I was just excited for the next thing that was just gonna pop up and make me laugh. And that's what Andrew was saying. Like, I wasn't excited to get to the next boss battle. I wasn't excited to get into the next fight. I wanted to see what thing they dug out from my childhood. And I will argue that we three may be in particularly niche on that Bible Adventures game. I think myself personally, because again, I owned it. And so I think that's a weird gag that, like, I don't think everyone would get, but I think they just get the nonsense of it, of like, what the heck is this? But having that little piece of nostalgia, just again, I can't get over it. It just makes me laugh thinking about it. Gets bonus points alone on that. So yeah, definitely a game and if you just want something that's gonna make you laugh and you do like this type of humor, this is gonna be stellar. So I give it an 80 overall, since the gameplay doesn't lie.
I thought you were gonna say 90 something.
I really was thinking that, but then just the more we were talking about, like, everything else is just fine from the actual gameplay, other than, like I said, all the weird little mechanics of the gameplay. I thought those were really cool. Even I was kind of laughing to myself. I was like, there's like bits of the Talos principle in it, where I'm like moving blocks around, putting them down on platforms. like, man, it feels like I'm just playing this all over again. So yeah, I thought that was cool, and I didn't want to do the shooting and the skateboarding and all of that. I just wanted to experience the world.
Remember when Borderlands used to be funny? Because like
I kept thinking about Borderlands a lot in this game, because the dialogue as you were in these fights would be similar.
You know, Borderlands was funny at a point, and nowadays it's kind of made fun of for the fact that its writing has gone completely sideways. So I like Borderlands 4 because I like shooting in that game, but I don't think the writing is very good. This is like the juxtaposition of that, where the writing is a lot better, and I think this is actually very funny, but the shooting is really bad. There's still surprisingly a lot to like out of this game, and I was going into this very skeptical because I did not really care for the first one. And I think with all of its faults, it's still a pretty good time, and it's still worth playing. I couldn't really put this in the 70s. I think it deserves to be a little bit higher than that. I think it deserves to end up in the 80s because I think the writing is that good. And if you break the fourth wall on me, I am interested in you. So I'm going to give it an 84.
Man, I'm the lowest rated one here.
Like, I think I liked it the most. I gave it an 80.
No, I think I was
84.
I think I was pretty high on this thing. I thought the writing to this game was...
Well, I'm just saying, you were the only one who gave it a pass. I guess
I know, you gave it the highest score.
Oh, wait. Did I give it a pass?
You did give it a pass.
Okay. This is my bad. So...
yeah, that's...
Okay, hold on.
It's like calling heads and tails in the Super Bowl. Be like, oh, man,
I've done this multiple times on this podcast, and I've been on this podcast for so long. Every time in my head, I am thinking pass, as in thumbs up. Pass.
What?
I have done this before. I've listened back on an episode where I was very positive on a game and I said pass at the beginning, and I was like, my brain went to thumbs up. This is a pass. You guys should play this. That's what my brain was doing. Not thinking game and pass. Don't even touch it. That's not where my brain was.
Pass on it.
I know this. My brain at that moment shifts it and says, yes, pass. Good to go.
You were so like hesitant and kind of like, it's gotta be a pass. And I was like, oh, it's like sounded negative.
No, I gotta go.
So it's a game then.
It is a game for me.
Okay. This changes everything.
My apologies. My apologies. I didn't realize I did that again. I wish you guys
to every Aaron episode from
yes,
to figure out what did
I
Aaron
know.
actually read.
It's just really a pass.
I'm only aware of it happening one other time before, and this was like
the Game Awards. His
it was
Game of the Year. He's like,
year.
wait,
No,
Game of the Year meant my top Game of the Year? Sick.
It was somewhere last year where I did this pass thing, and I was saying it in a positive sense, and I didn't realize I did it. So thank you guys for calling me out now, because I'm like, yeah, why are you guys surprised by this? And you guys, because you said pass. I'm like, oh, did I not? I did that again, didn't I? That's my bad. Game. It was a game. 84.
I don't know if I should like edit the beginning of the episode now.
No,
absolutely not.
Journalistic integrity, we leave it.
Well, you've already broke journalistic integrity twice this episode.
That's true. My bad. Sorry for doing research.
All right, everyone. So I guess it's now unanimous of we all gave this a game. So thank you for that, Aaron. So yeah, make sure you go to GamePassGrabBag.com. Check out all our past reviews. Make sure, if you can, be listening to us on Spotify. Help us out as we're trying to get real close to the partnership program. But yes, I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952. I don't know if you guys have anything to say.
Stop asking the question. Just hit the music. Every stinking week.
I wonder if I mentioned Bible Adventures enough that it'll get picked up on the submarine. That's what I'm with.
Keith really like Bible Adventures.
It's a great game.
All right, anyway, we love you all. We'll see you again next week.